All right, welcome to the Saturday Morning Nerd Show. I am your host, Marcus Blake, and joining with me, as always, is the brewing sailor, Brendan Smith.
Morning, nerds.
And we got Chad Womack from the Electric Jellyfish Podcast.
Oral?
And we got senior critic Jimmy Alford back with us.
What's up?
All right. And Jimmy, this is like school's about to start for you. You got to deal with kids and everything else.
Absolutely. It is that time of year when I get to introduce myself to a bunch of bright new faces and then tell them I survive on the tears of children and watch their life showing out of their faces.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Shaping young minds. I love
That's
it.
right.
So for us that don't have children and don't realize that school's about to start, we look at it as, oh, good, football season's about to start.
No shit. I'm just glad that the weather's getting cooler again.
I know, right? All right, so we've got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, the title of this show is we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, why it's been successful, why we all love it. But we'll get to that in a little bit later. So we're going to jump into a couple of quick things about movies. Apparently, The Odyssey has now Christopher Nolan's highest grossing movie ever. Great. Doesn't mean it's his best movie. So if you haven't had that experience of seeing it in the theater yet, or going to one of only 25 theaters in America that do 70 millimeter, go check it out. Have that experience. But
I honestly was kind of surprised to hear about all that just because I kept seeing all before it came out, all the previews and everything of all the armor looks so goofy.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, I was just like, man, this looks like the whole thing looked goofy as hell.
Well,
so apparently he did some magic. So,
like we talked about last time, I guess when you win an Oscar and the studio really loves you, they'll give you money to make anything. Steven Spielberg and the Fablemans. So here we are. But
what I think is fascinating is just, everybody's caught up on this $1 billion number, which I think is, still somewhat impressive. But when Avatar did almost $3 billion, ticket prices were $8.65. The average ticket price is now double that, meaning this, 20 years ago, the Odyssey does 500 million, and you take Avatar's ticket sales and put them at today's prices, and it does 6 billion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's impressive, but I think you're seeing the death of the movie theater because people can sit at home, buy an 85-inch TV for $600, throw a sound bar on it, and they don't have to spend $16 for tickets. Like, think about it. If you got a family of 4, okay, you're already at $60 before you buy any popcorn. Let's say you buy 2 big things of popcorn and 4 sodas. That's what, another $35 for the sodas, another $36 for the sodas, another $20 for the popcorn. You're over $100 to go to the movies. If you go to the movies 8 times a year, that paid for your TV.
Well, hey, the best person to break that down is our assistant editor, Allison, who, has 7 kids. And they don't all get to go to the movies, at the same time or whatever. It's usually like her and 4 or 5. But she'll tell you right off the bat, if we're taking kids to a movie and we're getting food there and everything, it's like a $200 outing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for matinees.
Yeah.
Discounted tickets.
Well, as I discovered this past weekend when I went to go to Spider-Man, matinees no longer are cheap.
No.
I mean, they were trying to charge me $16 to $20 at AMC and at Alamo Drafthouse, and that was a Sunday morning. And when I mean Sunday morning, I mean before church started. This is an 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock showing, and they wanted $20 for it. Thank God you reminded me of freaking $6 Tuesdays at Studio Movie Grill.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard,
that was clutch, by the way.
You guys have seen the memes about the guy who got kicked out of a movie theater because he literally brought a crock pot full of chili and was selling like Frito pie in the back row of the theater.
My hero.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when that guy becomes like a Robin Hood figure, something's wrong with the movie theater industry.
That dude saw, There is nothing wrong with what he did. He saw a hole in the market and he filled it. Uh,
You know?
Not all heroes wear capes. Some bring
Oh,
bags
man.
of Fritos.
Sometimes they wear aprons.
I mean, it's crazy because I was like, hell yeah, I'll buy the $4 Frito pie. My wife's like, you buy chili from a stranger in a dark theater?
I mean, it
Hell
depends.
yeah.
If it's in Texas, yes.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere in the South, yes. If it's maybe in the Midwest, maybe. If it's in New England or Northern California, probably not.
Well, if it's new,
Yeah.
obviously that crock pot's clam chowder. So.
Clam chowder, yeah, I was about to say.
No, I mean, and you're right about the exuberant prices and everything. And I was having this discussion with Allison because her and her husband went to go see Spider-Man. They did a date night. And he's the huge Spider-Man fan. They were like, so the price of taking all of our kids and getting food at the theater versus us just going by ourselves, 2 movie tickets, a really nice dinner somewhere without the kids. It all comes out, it evens itself out. But this is also why if MoviePass did one thing, despite it going bankrupt and everything else, it brought up the subscription services that you can do. An AMC A-list for about $25 a month with the amount of movies you can get and 3D, Dolby, all that, and IMAX is still the way to go if you're going to a lot of movies. And if you're a couple, doing 2 of those accounts, $50 a month, you at that point you go to 2 or 3 movies and you've paid for that, so. But yeah, it's just getting absolutely ridiculous. Also, at least with Avatar, it was neat and impressive the first time out, and then we're all like, "Wait, did you need to make more?" Still haven't watched the last one.
I thought it was hilarious that James Cameron was like, "I'm ready to move on from Avatar." I'm like, James, I moved on after the first one, brother."
Yeah. So anyway. Well, that's going on. A quick movie review. It'll get its full release around the 22nd, but there's limited releases right now. And we will definitely be talking about this movie during award season. Tony, a young coming of age story about Anthony Bourdain and working in his first kitchen in Provincetown. One of my favorite movies of the year. Thoroughly enjoyed it. One of Antonio Banderas' best roles in the last 30 years. I hope he gets at least nominated for an award because he was really great in it. I mean, even if you're not a huge Anthony Bourdain fan, you ever read his book or you watched his show, we know the name. And great coming of age stories, especially built to the backdrop of the 70s or the 80s with an amazing soundtrack and stuff. I look at it this way. What I said in my review is it's like taking the movie Almost Famous, but for chefs, and that's how it felt. And I think Dominic Sessa, he will win an Oscar one day. He has been great in everything that he's done, and I think he was absolutely perfect to play a young Anthony Bourdain. So, if you're looking for like a good date night movie, that is a great one to see. Or I'm sure it'll be on digital in about 30 days after its release. Before September's out. That's a great one to rent. You will not be disappointed by that movie. So, and it's another great one by A24. I hope it does well. All right, so that's going on. Did Jimmy disappear? Jimmy's like, I've had enough of this show. Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait for the technical stuff to come get straightened out with Jimmy coming back before we get to the main topic. So I wanted to talk about real quick. There we go.
Everything okay there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. The new Madden is out, and normally we don't review it every year because you don't really change that much. This year there are big changes with Madden because it's not the Unreal 5 engine, it's the personnel engine or something. It's a whole new thing, and I will say this about Madden. If you play Madden a lot, you are going to be challenged. They are trying to make this as realistic as possible. Defense and offenses really get into the tendencies and the attributes of players. I found myself very much struggling for the first couple of hours of running my normal playbook and just receivers not being able to catch the ball or fit stuff into tight spaces, and the defense being really quirky. It's going to take some getting used to. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I am just warning gamers out there before you get mad or throw your controller or whatever. They are trying to make it realistic and make it not an arcade where you can do the same stuff all the time and win, which is something I ran into with last year's version. Like, I knew my playbook. I've got about 10, 12 plays that I can run all the time. And I know how to, when receivers are getting into open space, how everybody's going to react to where, I know what the script is and I can win games and I hardly get challenged. It looks like they decided, well, we don't want that to happen and we want to frustrate players. So we built the game on a new engine. Looks great. Presentation is great, but it's going to be challenging. So it's a good and a bad thing. I haven't really decided if I think it's a great game because the first time you take a game and you build it on a new engine, there's a lot of up and downs with it. There's going to be some patches and updates. They're going to have to fix some things.
There's a new learning curve, more or less.
Yeah, it's going to be. So with that said, if you're an average player that sort of got used to Madden over the last few years, but you don't want that much of a challenge, this is not the game for you. This is the hardcore Madden players. I will say that, which makes me laugh because I remember, and this is a good story for Jimmy. Brendan did not participate because he does not play Madden, but during the pandemic, when we were all bored and trying to figure out stuff to do, we actually did a live stream of a Madden tournament. And this was also before share screen on Zoom. So we actually had one camera framed on a TV doing the gameplay with boxes and players all around trying to do it. And we did that one night. And it was absolutely hilarious. Even our gaming editor, Omri, who does not play Madden, who still holds the record for the most interceptions in a game.
I got housed that night. I remember that.
Yeah. We did. The main thing of that night was we had fun, camaraderie while we were all stuck at home surviving the pandemic. But obviously, not all of us, constantly play this game and whatnot. It was kind of a fluke that we were all doing it together. And so as bad as you were having with that version of the game, Chad, this one, you will throw a controller and be pissed off and be like, no, I'm done.
I haven't played Madden since that day.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot to like about the challenge in this version. And I'm certainly going to go through the season and play more around with it. But there's definitely going to be a learning curve. And if you're used to certain plays, they're not always going to work because your guys aren't always going to be in open space. And you're going to have to figure out timing, on slants and drag routes and things like that. And really what running plays are going to work versus relying so much, on the CPU and its tendencies. So it's an okay game for me right now. But
that's a ringing endorsement.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not. Look, am I running out and paying $60 for it right now? No. I'm going to use the EA 10-hour trial and play half my season. And then when it's on discount around the holidays, then I'll probably buy it. And by that time, they will have had, quite a few updates and stuff like that. And,
roster changes.
Right. So that's my take on it from all of these gaming influencers like, oh, it's great. It's the best man that we've had in years. I'm like, It might be, but again, you got to talk about the learning curve for the average players that are going to be frustrated.
It's EA's genius strategy of lowering the bar for the last 15 years. So they
I was
put
about
in
to
a
say.
modicum of effort. It comes off as the
Yeah.
greatest game in 15 years.
That's exactly. I was about to say when the bar's that low, when it starts that low, when it starts on the freaking floor,
EA's
pretty
playing
easy.
the long game.
Well,
Mhm.
okay, but who in their right mind? I mean, unless you've never heard the game before, which would be amazing to me, sees Madden on anything and thinks, "Ooh, there's something innovative," or "Ooh, there's something I've never seen before." Or I mean, like even if you don't know what's going on, is that really a thought that's going through anyone's head?
Yeah.
I mean,
I appreciate the presentation. If EA did one great thing with their two football games this year, they upped the ante on the presentation. It feels like you're watching a broadcast. Awesome, but I'm not paying $60 or $70 for that. Okay, that's all you did in EA College Football is you added more music and more of college game day
Well,
presentation.
and they tried to add microtransactions,
Right,
but the
right.
fans
As if
the
He ain't
fans
letting that go.
blew up in their face. I'll give EA this. At least they didn't act like Sony with the whole digital thing, like doubling down on it. Like we heard your complaints, we just don't care.
Don't give a shit.
Which is essentially what they said. But at least EA was like, "Ooh, we might have stepped in it this time. Let's dial it back." Oh, don't worry. I know. I have no doubt they're going to bring it back later. But
fully owns EA to be like, we might need to fix this. There's already a revolt with us trying to make more money. Yeah, because never in the history of gaming has microtransactions ever been a good thing, or fans accept them.
No.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to tell for the Madden players out there. It's going to be new engine, new challenges. Going to be a bit of a learning curve. Um, but I think it'll end up being a really fun game. But 2 or 3 versions on this engine and then making the improvements, then the game will be like top notch. And they did that with the Unreal 5 engine. I think 2018 was the first time they came out with it, and then by 2020, it turned out to be a pretty good game. But is it still worth $60? No.
Madden hadn't been worth $60 in I don't know how long.
No, the only 2 sports games that I can say that are worth that if you play a lot is FIFA, if you're playing in multiple leagues, or MLB. Because if you're a guy that really goes through 162, games in the playoffs, you're getting your money's worth in that game for full price.
I'm surprised you didn't say NHL because that's your jam.
Well, but I'm the NHL guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised you didn't say it.
You guys can log on and 9 times out of 10, when I'm playing.
Yes, that's exactly why I said it. I'm like, what a shock. NHL, whatever. Insert year here.
Yeah, but I'm in the playoffs right now. I gotta,
Of course.
This actually leads us to this week's Sign of the Apocalypse. And while we do kind of keep talking about gaming companies and fans, this will lead into the thing about BioWare. And I'm going to turn it over to Brendan, BioWare's thing about listening to the fans. So explain that.
So there's this article that came out and it was on Games Radar, and the BioWare dev is like, and he almost immediately walks it back, which I thought was hilarious. He's like, well, you really shouldn't listen to the fans. You can listen to their concerns, but you shouldn't look to them for solutions. They're not developers. It's like, wow, you backpedaled over your own foot, dude. Number one. Number two, you just had Veilguard come out and miss your sales projections by 50% because you didn't listen to the fans.
Yeah.
And we go through this, and I responded to the article, or the post, I should say, on X, from the article, and I said, "Players, we hate this. Devs, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Players, buy other games they do like. Devs, why did our game underperform? Why am I being laid off? This is all the fans' fault." Every time. We've seen this entire cycle play out like 6 times in the last 2 years. And by the way, there's a couple other gaming companies out there. I think it's already started at 343 Studios. I think there have been layoffs already.
Yeah.
There was some people on LinkedIn posting that they were laid off. And it's just like, you know, it's really it's amazing. It's really not that hard. You have fans. These are your consumers. These are the people you want to buy your product. You offer them a product they want to buy, then they buy it. If you offer them a product that you wanted to make but they didn't want to buy, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
It's it's just ridiculous. And there's one of my favorite YouTubers right now in the gaming space is a guy who goes by Legendary Drops, and he's got very even-handed takes, and he's very pro-consumer. Obviously, he's a consumer, but he talks about the difference between Steam and Epic Game Store. And Epic Game Store, Tim Sweeney's always constantly yelling, "Well, we're the best game for the developers. You know, we pay them the most money and they get all the most stuff from us." And that's true. If you're a developer, Epic Games is a better deal for you than Steam. The problem is the Epic game experience sucks for the consumer. So it's like, why don't we have more consumers? We're better for the people producing it, because you're not better for the people who are paying the money.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, those are the people that you have to please. And that's why Steam, while the entire industry has been contracting, that's why in the last 10 years, Steam has gone from 6 million concurrent players to 42 million concurrent players. One takes care of their customers, the other doesn't. So the moral of the story, guys, is don't listen to the dude from BioWare who tells you don't listen to your customers. Listen to your customers.
Frankly, don't listen to anybody that's going to say fuck the fans and don't listen to the fans.
Hell, if CD Projekt Red didn't listen to the customers, Cyberpunk would still be a disaster.
Yeah.
If Hello Games didn't listen to their fans, No Man's Sky would still be a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay. These are all games where they had bad launches, they listened to the fans, or in some cases, like Larian Studios with Baldur's Gate 3, they listened to their fans while they were in development, so that when it released, it was automatically a success.
Well, if there's anybody this year with a gaming studio that should absolutely get praised for really listening to the fans, it would be Pearl Abyss. Whether Crimson Desert is going to be the best game of the year, it probably won't. But the mass improvements that they have made since releasing in March to make it a better game, okay, more of an experience, that's your success, Pearl Abyss. And that's going to allow you to be able to make better games going into the future because you listened and you got the feedback.
Also, it builds consumer trust.
Yeah.
You now have an easier time selling your next game because the consumer is going to feel comfortable in the fact that you're going to listen and value their concerns, and they're going to get a better experience because of it and a better value for their money.
Yeah.
That consumer trust is everything, and it is so broken with certain gaming companies right now. And Ubisoft's, they've lost 90% of their market cap, in the last 5 years.
Right.
So,
but
yeah, I mean,
and
they're one.
Y'all are absolutely right, and it translates into so many other things besides just games. You don't have to walk far. Just knock on Disney's door. How long have we been saying, listen to the fans, respect the source material? And we just see this play out over and over and over again over at Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing you're saying. Absolutely.
By the way, I made a comment about award season. I'm just now noticing, I see some of those award screeners sitting behind you. The famous Neon box.
Yes.
Neon has a lot of great movies during award season, but their presentation for critics is awesome. Like, we all look forward to getting this really nice box. And I feel compelled to watch every video, even if they're not good. I'll be like,
it is so impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, and always has been, and always. I mean, it's.
I know.
Really
I
nice.
love Neon just for that.
That looks nicer than some of the collector's edition DVDs I've gotten.
I know, right?
I remember early in my career when I was still in college and I was doing movie reviews, and they did I think it was like a 10-year, maybe a 15-year anniversary thing for Reservoir Dogs, and it came in a little gas can with the DVD inside of it and all this really cool stuff. I'm just like, that was really freaking cool. And they sent it to me, a nobody college kid at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, when we are talking about physical media and stuff like that, this is why I don't throw away award screeners. I'm like, I saved them all because, especially with Neon, the presentation. And there have been times I'm like, well, I could go download it and take time or whatever, but I want to watch this movie again. I think I did that with Brendan Fraser's The Whale like last year. It was like I wanted to watch it again. It was really great. Was happy that he won it, but I pulled out my award screener and I put it in my little DVD player or Blu-ray player that's on my desk, connected to the TV above it, where we do award screeners. I'm like, I still love being able to do that. I love the Plex.
Oh,
Mhm.
Jimmy, to go along with your, it crosses video games into movies and other things. To your point, The Witcher Season 5 is no longer expected to drop in 2026. It's being pushed to 2027, despite being completely in the can for over a year.
I'm sorry. That goes in the category of we don't really care because nobody's going to be watching it.
Well,
Nope.
my first reaction was, "There's a Season 5?"
Yeah, I didn't realize there was going to be one.
I
Yeah.
thought it was
Oh,
canceled after Season 4.
Yeah.
And by the way, if there's any doubters over there about your physical media comments, I mean, Christopher Nolan's been on record for about 3 years now, saying physical media is the only real choice that people who want to have movies in their homes should have, and streaming and anything else that's not physical copies shouldn't be trusted. And that was from Christopher Nolan himself. So,
Look,
just saying.
I love the physical media, but the Plex servers are your own little private server of digital
Yeah.
copies to buy or get or share with friends and whatever. And the Plex server, somebody was asking me about this. I think it was James Faust, creative director of the film festival. We were talking about it. I'm like, the Plex server and sharing movies is the equivalent of, remember when your friends got the CD burner on the computer and you shared music and they would burn you a CD or software, whatever.
I mean, it's also the equivalent of like having a VHS tape and your buddy borrowing a
That's what I
VHS tape.
equate it
Yes.
to. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one copy. I mean, it's like one copy, and it's your copy, and they borrow it, and then they bring it back, and you still have your copy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I don't keep everything in VHS. I mean, I obviously still have the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS, the original theatrical version, the box set that came out in 1988. And I still watch it because I have a VCR that's hooked up just for that. But I actually have an award screener. I don't know how I ended up with it, but it's an actual VHS award screener for Barfly.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. The movie with why am I drawing a blank on his name? And Faye Dunaway, she played the character, but it's the wrestler. He was in The Wrestler.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke, thank you. I don't know why I was drawing a blank out, but Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway, and it's like a VHS cop. I think I've played it once, but I'm like, I just keep that because it's an award screener for the 80s that somebody discarded and ended up at like Goodwill because you're technically supposed to destroy them. And I'm like, no,
Nobody's going to destroy those.
no. Anyway, but getting back to our point of this week's Sound of the Apocalypse and stuff like that, and listening to the fans, and again, why you should do that. So we were talking about it before the show. The new Halo campaign Evolved is getting review bombed and blah blah blah. And I think I'm the only one on our staff that I spent a few days and I went back through it and played it all, and it was fun. I love the nostalgia, and it looked really good and stuff. But I'm also glad I didn't spend $50 on this game or even 70 to get the deluxe version or whatever. It's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you just to redo that game. so I can go back and play. You have the Master Chief Edition. That's the greatest remaster that they did, was putting all the first 4 Halos into one game with ODTs, with all the multiplayer modes and stuff that you can still jump back into, and those servers are still up. And that was $40 at the time that it came out, like 11 years ago, for the Xbox One. If they were going to redo anything on the Unreal 5 engine and make it, why not that entire Master Chief Edition? Because that's what I want to go back and play, and I've jumped back into that. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, do you ever jump back into the Master Chief Edition at all?
On occasion, yeah. I mean, it was one of the best values in gaming when it came out, and it still is.
It still looks great.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit better on the Xbox Series because of new graphics cards, just like the PS5 beefs up the graphics of PS4 games a little bit.
Yeah, upscales them.
Yeah. But they announced that now, with the success of Campaign Falls, that they are going to do each individual game, but they're going to release them individually. Like, I'm not going to do that. That's great. But again, you have the Master Chief Edition. That's all right there in one thing. And you don't, and the multiplayer still works. Do you see the point of,
For now.
right?
For now.
I just,
I wouldn't hold it. I wouldn't put it
Well,
past them.
They're
Shut down the
going to
servers.
try and milk every dollar they can out of it, and that's just what they do.
but
It's a beast.
it kind of kills the point when they're going to be day one Game Pass games anyway. Like, I'm not paying for them.
Well, I'll tell you what, I, they think it's a success, but everybody's been pretty pissed with it. So if they may have sold a lot of copies, but if they don't go back and listen to the fans, the next one that releases might not sell a lot of copies.
No.
And
Here's my takeaways from the game. Again, a lot of fun. It was very nostalgic, celebrating the 25th anniversary of Halo. It still has its quirks. The Warthog is still kind of tricky to drive at times. At the very end of the campaign, when you are racing to get back to the ship, still took me 2 or 3 times to get there because the Warthog still sucks. And then I made this joke online that if you are a kid from the 80s and 90s and you play Doom, you need that Doom training in the middle of the game when you're in like the library mission and you're just wave after zombie soldiers and you're having to do it by yourself. You're having to strategize and pick up weapons and get ammo and figure out how to do all this. Those are some of the hardest missions in that campaign. Again, it was fun and it looked really good. But does it beat the Master Chief Edition? No.
No.
Because I got done with it and I immediately was like, well, I actually want to play 2 now. And you don't have a new, but you're going to give me individual games and try to make me pay for them. So at the end of the day, yeah, you should have just done the entire Master Chief Edition, just do the entire thing. I would have paid $60 for that again. Just to have, an actual like physical copy and a digital copy, because of how fun it was, or still is. But here we are in the gaming industry, as usual.
End of the world.
Now, couch co-op does work. You can actually have a squad of up to 4 people doing the campaign together. I think that's kind of neat. A lot of, it's still fun. But again, you do couch co-op in the Master Chief Edition. So you see my point there. You already had something great, and then you're just making it more shiny, like an Avatar movie, but it's not really anything better than what you already had.
And you're giving it less value. You're making it's all ice cream and no cake. So
yeah. So anyway. All right, so that's what's going on. All right, last thing that we want to talk about before we get to the main topic. Here's a question I want to pose. It was going to be this this week's Side of the Apocalypse, but I just think it's kind of funny. Jared Leto, he does run a cult, right? We're all on board with. I mean, we're all pretty sure he's running his own little cult.
I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe he has some secret extra naughty videos of the higher ups or whatever, but none of it makes sense. The only movie I've liked him in the last, I don't know, decade has literally been this last Master of the Universe, because I didn't see his face, it didn't sound like him, and he got his ass kicked.
Right.
That's the only redeeming thing about the fact that he was attached to that movie at all.
Well, he's being accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault with young girls or whatever, and there's more stories coming out of how he's has preyed on young college age girls or high school or whatever. And then you see him in like his robes and his long hair and looking like Jesus. And it's like, yeah, dude. Also, they take that same look and he tries to sell cologne. Like, would you buy cologne from this guy? What is in that cologne, I think, is the bigger question. My theory, I think they're tired of Jared Leto bringing movies down and they found a way to stop him.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's an easier way not to stop him than some conspiracy. Just don't cast him.
we've had the Jared Leto experience. We don't need that anymore.
The greatest acting Jared Leto ever did was getting his face pushed in by Edward Norton.
So, there are two early movies that I really like him in. The first one, Switchback, which came out like 30 years ago with Dennis Quaid and Danny Glover. Danny Glover's the villain. He's
Yeah.
like,
He's a serial killer. Yeah.
yeah, that was a really good, underrated movie, and didn't get a lot of traction that year with a lot of great action movies. The other one is American Psycho, just because he has a really fun death scene and we all root for him to be chopped up.
While Hip to Be Square plays in the background.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, it's like he's been around forever, and he has been attached to some really great movies. Like he was in Requiem for a Dream, and like you mentioned, Fight Club. He was in Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
Switchback.
I think-
Prefontaine. He was in Prefontaine.
But I think what you,
That was a good
ironically, you're pointing out the thing here. He is a character actor that they tried to make a leading man, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
All of those movies you pointed out, he is not the leading guy.
True.
And it's like somebody decided, like somebody who's in Hollywood, who's a kingmaker, decided Jared Leto is going to be my next project. And they've been pushing it for 15 years, and it's just never worked.
Well, I mean, he's also like the world's. I mean, he's also like a big nepo baby too. Just because, I mean, he's like the product of like rock star parents, isn't he? I mean, isn't that the case?
I don't know.
Oh man, I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure Leto
I'm
is
already
like,
doing it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure his parents are rock star legends.
Constance Leto and Anthony Bryant. I have no idea who they are.
Where?
I mean, it sounds about right. But while you look it up, so he has won an Oscar, but that movie is where he's the sidekick. He's not the leading man, and that was for Dallas Buyers Club, which great performance, absolutely deserved it. Watched that again not too long ago. Everybody deserves all the accolades they got for that movie, but again, not leading man. So
Yep.
Great sidekick, but yeah. I never really bought you into leading Tron.
No.
So
Least of all-
I'm wrong about his parents, but whatever. Yeah, he's
I
born in Louisiana though, so there you go. There's a strike against him.
that's it right there.
Yeah, him and Britney Spears.
Just
I can
Hollywood white trash.
Yep.
can I get no more Britney Spears news or whatever. I failed as a mother. It's like, you know what? Don't fuck your backup dancers. Okay.
I mean, unless you're dancing with knives.
Yeah, I mean,
You may not have a choice.
yeah. You trying to be a pop star again and all this crap is about not as creepy or as creepy as New Kids on the Block getting back together doing a tour. I'm like, anyway.
In the words of Ryan Reynolds, but why?
Yeah, exactly. All right. But I again, going with my theory, I think him and Ezra Miller are part of the same cult.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, maybe that's where Jared Leto will finally get his leading man status. Is
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely see him being a cult leader. That would not shock me in the slightest.
What cult is that? Stupid assholes that are attached to a DC franchise that torpedo their own careers doing dumb shit?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's an oddly specific cult.
I know that doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
It is a mouthful.
No, I still
Probably
like,
for the cult members too.
I was gonna say, yeah, especially for Jared and Ezra's cult members.
Mhm.
might need to
Like-
rebrand here. Or
Maybe
whatever.
half
Yes.
a mouthful, you know.
Yeah, let's acronym this thing somehow. We got to make it clever.
There's a Hollywood. There's a great Australian comedian, Damien Powers, who talks about the difference in great American stories versus Australia, and it's the type of drugs you do. In America, these stories, they're cocaine stories. Hollywood executives are taking cocaine and they come up with these really great action-oriented stories. In Australia, it's meth stories.
Meth
They're
ed
very
acting.
depressing, and
Fed acting.
the big heist is stealing copper, not money or anything like that. So that's kind of how I look at Hollywood. There's an exec sniffing cocaine who's like, Jared Leto, cult leader, we can make that into an award-winning film. Like, no, that's a little too on the nose. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway. All right, we're going to take a quick break, everybody, and then we're going to be back and get to our main topic. So we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to get to the main topic. Spider-Man Brand New Day. If there is one movie that is winning the summer blockbuster race, the
Oh shit.
Spider-Man Brand New Day is that movie. I want to first start off by saying, well, two things. One, it's very rare that all four of us actually agree. We all pretty much agreed that this movie was a lot of fun and great. And two, it's very refreshing to have a superhero movie that did not completely suck or wasn't just meh, come out in the summer and remind us of what it used to be like pre-pandemic with Marvel movies, where we were just really excited about like a good movie. And nothing to Spider-Man No Way Home, I was still that way. So we're going to talk about this movie, but also talk about the fact, why is it that the Spider-Man movies seem to succeed more than Marvel movies, not only in the MCU, but especially since Endgame? Because Spider-Man No Way Home made over $1 billion. This one's going to do the same.
No Way Home almost made $2 billion. This one might actually get to $3 billion.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. Maybe it's Sony and Marvel have to be forced to work together because when Sony does their own stuff with the Spider-Man menagerie, it's to quote Good Morning Vietnam, it usually sucks the sweat off of a dead man's balls. So because the Venom movies were just okay, Craven was a joke, Madam Web
Yuck.
was I think was barely worse than Supergirl on its theatrical run. So I guess Sony and Marvel just have to work together, and then somehow their shittiness cancels each other out, and they put out something good by accident.
Oh, wait, and don't forget
Honestly,
Morbius. Don't forget Morbius. That was a spinoff too.
well, yeah,
no,
that was I was trying to
honestly,
forget. Thank you
You're
very
trying
much.
to forget. I know.
I think it has more to do with just Sony being in the mix. I think y'all are giving Marvel a little too much credit because I think the reason why they're better movies is because it is a fundamentally different style of storytelling that they do with the Spider-Man movies than they do with most of the other superhero movies. Most of the other superhero movies, going back to I think up to Thor Ragnarok. It's like you are already in the middle of this big world-ending event that's already happening, and you're just being fatigued through the whole movie. Everything has this weird, dark neon glow about it. Everyone's depressed. Everyone's always like going back to like the blip or when this happened or when that happened. Everyone's depressed. Everyone's got PTSD. And as a fan, that is really taxing. You know, I think back on movies that Marvel did where I think, when was the last movie where I sat down and I enjoyed it? The storytelling. Thor Ragnarok, I loved that movie. The original Thor movie was great. The original Iron Man was great. Captain America, like those movies, which were kind of one-off movies. Yes, they did build them into the Avengers eventually, but they were not pulling into all this lore. They weren't just burdening themselves with all this storytelling which had nothing to do with the plot at hand.
Well, I think you're partly part of the way there. I think what it really is that Spider-Man in and of itself, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's always had a smaller focus.
Right.
And also Spidey, Peter, no matter how bad his life gets, he's always nice. He's always friendly. They're friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And because we want our heroes and we want our heroic stories to be uplifting. Okay, I'll bring it back to Gabe Newell from Steam. He was talking about the other day about people talking about, well, the sand looks so good or the water looks so good. He goes, okay, that's great, but how does that make the game fun? All right. You can have all these big, grandiose storylines, but at the end of the day, people go to the movies to have fun. And if your stories are so weighed down with PTSD and angsty characters and subverting expectations, Ryan Johnson, and people aren't having fun. So when they go to Spidey and it's just Spidey kicking butt and quippy one-liners and you know trying to do the right thing when it's hard, but doing it anyway and still having a smile and still being able to laugh and even getting a laugh out of the Punisher, you know, that lets people have fun, and people want to have fun at the movies. So
By the
yeah,
way, he's
Oh,
still
by the way, speaking of the Punisher, that movie, we do get to add another person who has played Spider-Man on film. Just FYI, I don't think it's much of a spoiler alert if if you're not out there looking at the memes, but yeah,
he was
yeah,
so
Spider-Man.
yeah.
yeah,
You know, Frank and Peter both, you know, they're dealing with their own depression. They're dealing with their own, PTSD and stuff. But it doesn't come across as them being so depressed. They're still heroes trying to do the right thing. I think that's the big difference than, woe is me and here's all the shit that I'm dealing with and stuff like that. This is, as I'm doing a Marvel rewatch and you talk about why the earlier movies work, you have great origin stories that that you make them in that make these characters into the heroes that we know they're going to be. Okay, they get them across that line to where they come together, and it made the first Avengers movie so great. And one of the things I recognize when rewatching it is I love how Steve and Tony are at each other's throats, and Steve's like, "Well, put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds or whatever." Then the explosion happens. Yeah, you need to put on the suit, and then they start working together and they become a team. You're seeing heroes become heroes and do the right thing. And to your point, Brendan, Peter Parker, no matter what, no matter the sacrifices he's having to make, okay, and he's having to make a huge sacrifice to keep the people that he loves safe and whatnot. And it's a tragedy what he had to do, at the end of Spider-Man: No Way Home. But he's still out there fighting crime, still kind of giving up a part of himself, trying to do the right thing. And there's one important thing that makes this movie great. And if you haven't seen the movie and you're watching this yet, then I can't help you, but we are going to spoil it. Sorry.
Turn it off now.
Yeah. It's the one thing he does with Jean Grey when he pulls her back from crossing the line and all the craziness that she's doing when she's a mad, or just an angry young girl seeking revenge. He shows her kindness. He shows her friendship. And then they double down on that when she's going back through his memory, and you get the cameo with Marissa Tomei as Aunt May showing her that. Okay. That's what heroes do. Okay. And it puts things into perspective of like, okay, I don't have to be this angry person. I am finding connection. I am finding friendship. I am not alone in the world. Okay. And that's what's helps me, on my hero's path versus the monotony and just the depression. And I'm just going to be an angry person all throughout, this story. It's like, I don't want that. I want you to be the good person at the end and the hero that I expect you to be. So, but yeah, there's just something about this story. And I think it's simple. They didn't try to complicate it or it wasn't convoluted in its storyline. It was just a very simple storyline. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes.
It was. I do think they made one mistake though with Jean Grey. Look, you could have had her just take over the people in damage control, and that would have been scary enough. And you still would have had people that were like, okay, that's fine because they murdered her sister, but no, she takes over 1 square mile of New York City, which is what, 1.5 million people. So that makes I don't understand Marvel's like fetish with having their female
Wanda
characters take over the minds of like a town full of people, and then they're like, they'll never know what you sacrificed. You mean the kids she made up out of her own figment of her own imagination that she never actually had with her android father? Um, I like it's the fact that the people writing this think this is normal, and then they just she just goes away, nothing ever happens. And then we're going to have to, when we see her in the X-Men, she's going to be a hero. And they're going to act like nobody's even going to mention the fact that she forcibly held 1.5 million people against their will and could have killed them in an instant. And it's just like, you didn't have to do that. That was such a stupid choice.
Well, first off, there's also another thing is like they never really address the fact that, I mean, like, all right, two things. One, I don't know if any of y'all remember the Christopher Reeves Village of the Damned movie that he made, where in that I'm going somewhere with this. They basically put everyone to sleep in the town, and so many people die doing normal things because they did that. And they don't really address the fact that if you just freeze people in place, and yes, I get that they stop walking, but so many people would just die because they would be in like drinking a cup of coffee and just drown. Okay. They never go to that. And two, rent should be like $5 a month in Manhattan because between the blip, between alien invasions and being frozen by a super mutant. Who wants to live there? None of this makes sense.
Like, it's so like,
Like picking apart this thing. This thing doesn't make sense to me. I want this movie to be perfect, but there's this one thing I can't get over. And I'm not disagreeing. I'm just like we all have that one thing that we can never quite get over, and then
well, overall, the movie's still good. I just don't understand Marvel and their writing team's weird fetish with having their female heroine characters like mind rape half of a town. Especially in this case, it's completely unnecessary.
yeah. See,
Like at least with Wanda, like she goes off the deep end and becomes a villain. Like, okay, at least we're doing that. But Jean Grey's not going to be a villain forever. She's one of the X-Men. And if they do make her a villain, they're going to piss off all their fans. But
Dark Phoenix.
I mean, she's going to get to Dark Phoenix, but
oh, can we not do that again? They've tried it so many times, they never get it right.
Well, I'm just
Third
saying
time's not going to be
she
a
does
charm.
become a villain eventually. I'm just saying.
right. But I mean, I think after the last movie, I'm like, no, we're good. We've seen it.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Talk about how do you screw up that cast with everybody bringing back, even the young people, even with like Sophie Turner being Jean Grey, and it's like, wow, you guys bring in all these good people and somehow still screw it up with the great cast.
One of my favorite storylines in comic book history, and they fucked it up every time they touched it.
Yeah,
Actually, it's actually one of my least favorite. I can't stand when the good guys become the villains. It drives me insane. It's the end of storytelling. We've run out of the shit to do with this character, so we're just gonna make him the bad guy now.
right.
Every time it happens, it drives me insane.
Yeah. So the thing about it's funny that Brenda brings that up because I had this same discussion with Allison after they went and saw Spider-Man because she's the huge X-Men fan, and I always love to tell the story about how she was hired. I didn't know anything about her, but she wrote her master's thesis on the X-Men being compared to Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces. I'm like, I don't need to know anything else about you. I just want to read that paper, and it was fucking awesome. But she's like, why do I have to go this far? It's like, oh my God. That's like the one thing you guys are all harping on. I wasn't pissed off about that. I was pissed off about you had the golden opportunity to actually introduce X-Men, or at least one of the characters. Like she is on a bus going somewhere. This should have been your end of the credit scene. And all it is, and I'm sorry, again, spoiler, because you don't need to see this. Oh, it's just an 8-bit version or 16-bit of the little Spidey tracker, and he's off planet. Yeah, we know he's going to be in Doomsday. I didn't need the credits scene to tell me that. But if you have Jean Grey arriving and meeting Charles Xavier
or Scott,
right,
Scott would have been better to be on the bus and say, "Hey, there's somebody you really need to meet. Come to this school in upstate New York."
Right, something like that. Or even just a tidbit of Charles Xavier saw what happened and shows her kindness and like, you are better than the choices you've made or something like that to give her comfort. It says, you're better than what you did. And here's, your hero story now. Okay. I'm like, and see, again, that didn't really bother me because I really love the scene with Marissa Tomei telling her that she is okay. And showing her love and kindness, and I'm glad they brought her back for that cameo because that was one of the best cameos.
So. I'm for any time you want to put Marissa Tomei on screen.
I mean, there's many reasons to watch.
Although I felt really awkward watching her as Aunt May for the first time because I'm not supposed to be attracted to Aunt May.
No, but
it was so weird.
But this is one of the things about the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. There's many reasons to watch that movie and why it's great. It's one of Mickey Rourke's best performances. But Marissa Tomei plays a stripper.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an added bonus. And
that's I didn't have that on my bingo card that day. Like, oh, okay, right on.
But she plays a great character. Yes, she does.
Okay, so fan fiction idea. Aunt May is the same character from The Wrestler, and The Wrestler was actually Uncle Ben. who died later, which is why Peter goes to the wrestling match the first time. I see the dots. I have the whole string board going here in the background.
I
All
mean,
right, all right, Charlie Day.
that's literally that's just as good as we did a podcast one time about how Johnny and Shane from Point Break and Shane Falco are the same characters, and it's in the same universe. Yeah, Alex Moore had a whole like thread about how this was. I was like, we're going to listen to this thesis of yours, and it does kind of make sense. God,
Frighteningly enough.
that would be interesting. But uh, Chad, what did you really love about this movie?
I think it is the most even-keeled performance by an actor that has ever worn the red and blue and black webbed lycra since it began. That how many times have we gone over the history of portrayals of Batman in cinema and thought, man, they made a great Bruce Wayne, but they just didn't quite nail Batman. Or man, they made a great Batman, but they just didn't quite get the characterization of Bruce Wayne, or the physicality was off, or something. Something about it was just not quite there. There wasn't the equal balance. And this kid, I think, gave the best performance as both Peter and Spider-Man of any Spider-Man film I've ever seen.
Wow.
Tobey, Garfield, and Tom. This was the best one I've seen.
I've said ever since his first outing that to me, it's the three Spider-Mans can be defined this way. Tobey is the best Peter Parker. Garfield is the best Spider-Man. Tom is a little bit better of a Peter than Tobey, and he's a little not quite as good of a Spider-Man, or he's not. I should say that he's a better Peter than Andrew and a better Spider-Man than Tobey, but he's not better than either one of them at being what the other thing they're good at. He's kind of right even keeled in the middle. So I think he's a better balance between the two.
I think it also makes a difference because we've literally seen him grow up as Spider-Man. You said it in your review that the maturity of the character, what we are seeing beyond, because I mean, he's been doing this nearly 10 years. So we've gone from being in high school, um, that kid to dealing with Endgame and all that, and making very adult like choices, having to deal with you're alone. Aunt May is not there. Um, you had to erase everybody's memory to save the world. So you are finally ingrained in that adult hero. And now your connection are other heroes. And Brendan, you said it best too in our discussion that the big brother little brother dynamic between Frank and Spider-Man absolutely worked in this movie.
Yeah, I was not prepared to love that relationship as much as I wound up loving that relationship.
I've been saying this for years. We need I don't even care if it's just a Disney Plus special. We need a crossover between Spidey, Daredevil, and Punisher.
Oh God, yeah.
I only had two real problems with this movie. And it's something they do a lot in Marvel. One was we've already discussed, so I won't go down that rabbit hole again. But the other was how the hand is just treated like, oh well,
An afterthought.
Yeah, they're A, an afterthought, and B, well, we just domesticated them like a kid. Really? Like that's to me that was as dumb as having the Infinity Stones be paperweights in the TVA. It had the same energy to it. It's like, oh, we're gonna openly mock this thing we've already done.
Yeah, I get that kind of minor nitpicking for me personally.
It is a minor. Like I still gave the film an 8. Like I still liked it a lot. Those are the only two things that bug me.
I love
I personally see it the opposite way. I see it as like that agency that just shows me how good they are at manipulating people that you would think would be otherwise unchangeable, you know, like you said, well, they just domesticated them.
And
It's like that to me, that just says to me, it's like there's something weird about them if they're able to take this real threat and then just
Bring
see,
it to
see.
heel.
but the problem is for me that's unbelievable. It's and based off of their own previous writings, it doesn't. It's not like, oh wow, that means they're really interesting. It's like, no, that's impossible based on the way you've written these characters before. It doesn't fit. And so it doesn't say it doesn't say, oh, this is a really badass organization. To me, says, oh, that's really bad writing. Because you didn't say how they did that, you didn't show how they did that. You said they did it. And I'm supposed to believe it and take it at face value.
Well,
The Mary Sue principle.
and then
Well,
that's
in this case,
fine. I
Gary
mean,
Stu.
Gary
the
Stu,
But
yeah.
the thing is though, it's like the movie's not really about them. But I get your point. But like if
to me, that's even less reason to do it
I mean
if the movie's not about them.
I
Because
guess the alternative would be just to leave them out, which is fine.
exactly.
And
Or if
that's
you're going to bring
fine.
them in, just have them be a third party that are trying to break into damage control for their own reasons.
Yeah.
It,
But I
I
think part of it is like though it's the same reason that they also had the tombstone in the movie. You know, he was in there for like a second and a half, and they had the hand in there, and they had it was part the only reason the hand was in there and the only reason the tombstone was in there is to give this overarching story of what Peter is doing instead of being in a relationship. He's fighting the hand, he's fighting his tombstone, he's not enjoying being a
See,
person.
what
It's punishing to him.
I understand all that, and I would have been fine if Peter was fighting the hand if the hand wasn't the puppet of DC.
Well,
Like
but no, early in the movie though, it's like they talk about him defeating the hand. Like they were brought up, and the fact that we saw them again as part of the organization is just because
it didn't work for me.
the other thing could have been is like if they had also had Tombstone walking around, you know, as one of their agents as well. It would have been the same thing within this one movie.
It just didn't work for me.
I will say this though, the fight choreography though was really good.
It
Uh,
was. It was excellent.
but you talk about some of the ridiculousness, like I gave it a 9 too, but this is the one thing that I kind of harped on. Like when you are settling, the story has an ending. I was actually bothered by the Hulk. I understood him as the plot device. I understood that part and it worked. I loved Mark Ruffalo coming back and being a part of that. He doesn't know he is because of all that has changed. But you don't really have a really good ending with it. It's like, oh, okay, well, this happened. He was manipulated by Jean Grey. He knocked down some walls, and now he's going to a mental institution. Okay, can you tell me what happens afterwards? You're just going to leave me hanging on that, like he's going for rest or what? It seems kind of derivative of one of the legacy characters after he was manipulated a little bit. And I know this is nitpicking because it's not his story. The Hulk was really just a plot device of using somebody strong. So I get that. But I also, to me, that something in the mid credits of him, getting taken out by one of the other Avengers or something like that, or like the Thunderbolts get him out or something that tells me what his story is post that. Or am I supposed to? Are you going to bring that up in Doomsday? Is another thing, another reason I have to go see this convoluted timelines merging together with a new, which I'm still not excited about, but we'll see what happens. So again, that's just kind of minor nitpicking for me, but I loved Mark Ruffalo in it. I did. It's kind of weird.
Uh, I none of that didn't bother me either because, like you said, the story wasn't about him. I just like I'm just not like one. I've never been like the biggest Hulk like fanboy.
Really?
Not really. Not my character.
You're definitely not going back to watch the
I
Hulk movie, are you?
I mean, I've seen them all. I've seen them all, and they're fine. I don't mind them. But as a comic book, they never really did it for me, and I'm okay with it being kind of like a throw. Like he didn't die. He didn't. Nothing like really bad happened to the Hulk that would be like really uncharacteristic. That wouldn't have happened in the comic books. Like so, none of that really bothers me. So
Marvel just doesn't know how to handle, like, they don't know how to handle the Hulk on screen. And they're very inconsistent with him. And I mean, like, for example, in this movie, there are parts of it where it's Jean Grey controlling him, and I get that. And then there are other parts of it where it's just him and he's back to being Hulk Smash and not Professor Hulk. But the thing is, we've already seen him spend a year as the Hulk in Ragnarok, and he was more than just pure rage monster when he was, like, they wrote the character past that, and then they brought it back. It seems like they regressed the character.
Well, it seems like the only
And
that you even use him is the whole thing about controlling whatever the device was that controlled him.
oh yeah, it's really is a setup for, because they're to
I,
control mutants, and they're
right.
setting up.
I get that's what you had to do, and Peter Parker's using his tech whiz to create a device that's going to trap Jean Grey. So I get that as a plot device. Um, for me, I wanted more, and I feel like there could have been more of an explanation. Now, one thing I really did like, Elena from Thunderbolts. I'm like, that was kind of a fun character to throw in there, and its connection, because I liked Thunderbolts. It was a wacky, to me, it felt reminiscent of like early Marvel movies that were just kind of wacky and fun with these oddball characters. You had comedy, you had action, um, and the one great thing that came out of Black Widow, even though that movie came out 5 years too late, is the fact that of the Red Guardian and where they got the name Thunderbolts. And I love the scene in that movie where he's driving up in the limo and she is so embarrassed that you never get over the embarrassment of your parents. It was a fun movie. It's one of the better movies. So you have that connection of this is her office, and um, you didn't do too much. You just had a little bit of comic relief, but it's a neat little connection to a larger world, with that cameo.
I
So
mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. For me, the story, the whole thing, the whole reason why this Spider-Man movie was a 9 for me was the story of him becoming Spider-Man, not Spider-Boy. He became an adult in this movie. He's been an adult for a while. He's been doing adult things, handling, Avengers stuff and all this, but he is tackling real world problems that is very relatable from my point of view, the aging audience point of view. And people can nitpick or do whatever they want. It's like I've been seeing memes all about like the small potatoes memes and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, that's all fine, but this movie, at the heart of it, the story is so good. And you talk about, you know, the scene with Aunt May talking to Jean Grey is wrenching, and it's really good, and that's what really makes this movie.
all right, here's a question I want to ask you guys. I am not a huge Zidania fan, not really. Okay, I've never really liked her as MJ, and I think part of that goes back to is Kirsten Dunst is always going to be my MJ, but she has grown on me after 4 movies. I'm not saying that she's great; she's still not my favorite, but I liked her more in this movie. So my question to you is, do you guys like her as MJ, or do you like her more? Do you have the same kind of feelings? Chad, I'm going to start with you.
You know, the strange thing about this is that my wife has not liked any of the other Spider-Man. She liked this one. And her big takeaway from the whole, Spider-Man experience since Tom took the role was that Ned and MJ irritated the shit out of her. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah, she's so not the MJ that we are accustomed to seeing,
Right.
and and it always did kind of take me out of it a little, because the MJ that we grew up reading wouldn't have gone to MIT.
She's
Also, it's not MJ. It's the initials MJ, but it's not Mary Jane Watson. It's a
Right.
completely different character.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they well, I'm not a fan of Zendaya personally. I I find it hilarious that Christopher Nolan cast as the goddess of wisdom a woman who looks perpetually confused. But I mean, that's more ironic than anything ironic in Alanis Morissette's ironic. I'm sorry, Alanis, but rain on your wedding day isn't ironic. That's coincidence. Raining on your wedding day, if your wedding was in Death Valley, that would be fucking ironic. Okay. So it just, I'm not a huge fan of her. But I do think they did her a massive disservice by naming the character MJ
Yeah,
because it's not Mary Jane Watson. So why did you name it MJ? Just to confuse everybody? That's a great idea. But like, honestly, I was very disappointed that they included. Like, I would have preferred. I hate when they go back when your character makes a sacrifice, and then the writers say, that's too painful for the audiences. We're going to go back on it because now it's not a sacrifice anymore. Now they're she's going to remember him. Ned already does. So like they hint that heavily in the last scene, and it's just like, okay, so all that was for nothing. Like,
remember
huh?
high school or anything. She remembers that he was in the coffee shop. It's like,
Right, but they'll get there. They're definitely going to go back on it. They've already started it with Ned. Ned remembers, they did the handshake. He's like, Peter, like, come
Yeah,
on.
but everyone loves a redemption arc. You want to talk about storytelling? I mean, that's
That's
like,
that's not a redemption arc. That's rewriting history. That's rewriting the own story that you made. That's not a redemption arc. That's just we said he couldn't remember anyone, and now all of a sudden he can remember. And like that's just bad writing, not a redemption
I
arc.
don't know.
There's
I
nothing
don't
to
think it's
redeem
bad
there.
writing to give people, the audience wants Ned to remember. The audience wants her to remember. The audience does not want this to be a complete tragedy forever. And you want to say, don't, respect the audience. I think that's really respecting the audience is like giving them an arc where they can get back to it against all odds. I mean, that
Well,
to me, that
but the way I look at that is, are they now pulling on a thread that's going to undo what Steven did that made everybody forget him in the first place?
and that could be part of the story too.
well,
That could be great.
I don't think
And
it's actually fully explained. Would they completely forget? Like, there's no chance that they would ever remember. Is that part of the spell, or
I don't think they have to. I mean, it's magic.
I?
All and the other thing is like you want to know, like
Oh, I can tell you how they're
you
going to
don't
write it.
have to like Zendaya or whatever. I mean, I personally I think she's just fine, and I don't have a problem with her being named MJ because here's the deal. This is a Spider-Man and an MJ that's made for a younger audience, not made for us, although we can still enjoy them. This, it is a more updated version where yes, MJ, while not the same character, I understand, yes, can go to MIT and be as smart as Peter Parker, not just the love interest in the background who has to be saved all the time.
Dealing with different universes, so there's going to have be different versions of the character.
Exactly. So none of that bothers me. And as an actress, she doesn't really bother me. I do find it funny that between like Troy, the Odyssey, and her character in Dune are almost the memes I see of her, just like the difference between the two is just lighting. It's just one is more yellow than the other, but the blank stare in the distance is about the same between the two different movies.
No, I don't complain about her in the Dune movies, and I'm very much looking for. I'm actually looking forward to Dune Part Three more than I am Doomsday. I just want to see how they're going to complete the Messiah storyline.
I just
Uh,
personally I think it's disingenuous to say respect the source material, respect the audience, and then say they have to be chained by the decisions that they made in previous movies. When the comic books never did that, ever since day one,
It's one of my biggest problem
ever.
with comic book stories. That's why I
Well,
quit reading
then
them.
maybe you don't like comic book stories. Maybe this
I don't
just
like
is not
comic
for
book.
you.
I don't like comic book writers. There's a difference.
Yeah, maybe this type of movie is just not for you. It's fine.
I liked a lot about it. I just don't. I mean,
no. Well, here's what I would say. I think that's the great when you're a creative person or whatever, and you're kind of nitpicking. Like there's things that you just like, you dislike, or whatever. Sometimes it's kind of hard to let it go because I do that in writing all the time. Like I would never do this, and this is why I don't like fantasy. This is why whatever. I think the greatness of creativity, and Brendan, I've been saying this for almost 20 years of being friends. I can't believe you haven't written a book yet. Um,
I got 20 chapters into a book, and my friend downloaded a virus that bricked my computer, and I've never been able to pick up a pen since.
so that person is going to the special hell.
That person is Adam.
I love Adam, but he might still be going to the special hell.
Yeah, that was back in 2000, 2001. I was living in Hawaii. He and I were roommates. I don't know what he did to my computer, but he bricked my computer and I lost 20 chapters of a book.
Wow, I did not even know that story. Wow,
Yep.
that if there is a true testament of friendship, that is right.
That the man's still upright.
I will still stand up in your first wedding as your best man, even after all that. Anyway,
Even after I told him not to get married.
All right then. Like I'm saying, I think that's the greatness of like being able to how you feel your creativity and being able to develop your own stuff, and then kind of shake your head at I don't understand what the fuck you're doing in these storylines. But again, the action is very good. But to my point about her as an actress, I like her more in this movie. I like that she is more mature and, the development of this character, whatever version of MJ she is, versus where she used to be. Because she was so annoying in Homecoming.
Yeah.
She was one of the things that I absolutely hated in that movie. Like Ned is a great sidekick character. Like I love when he discovers that he is Spider-Man, I mean, Aunt May discovering just where they cut it off, and it goes.
Yeah.
So I think that's the growth. I guess my point is that's the growth of their story. Is the older they get, she is a better character.
I'm with Jimmy on the fact that she's fine as an actress. Like I do think it's funny that she kind of does have like the same look in just about everything, but I don't think she's terrible. I just think she's just fine.
So
but
her look in every movie is her Blue Steel look.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it's
100%.
She's got
She has got the Blue Steel look down.
She's got that many faces of Catherine Stewart, or what was her name from? Not Catherine Stewart. What was the name from the chick from Twilight? I've worked hard to erase
Kristen
her.
Stewart.
Kristen, thank you.
Yeah.
It's that same meme.
But that reminds me of the Far Side comic. It was like the many faces of a dog, and it's just like happy side of the dog look the same in every single one. It's the same thing with Kristen Stewart. Yeah,
it reminds me of Mystery Science Theater 3000 when they were taking pot shots at Kathy Ireland, that she always had a look of dull surprise. Here she is, dull surprise, ding 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 ding, dull surprise, ding 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 ding.
But she is the greatest kicker in Texas State NCAA
Armadillo history.
Exactly.
But yeah, well, hey, like Kathy Ireland has a special place in my heart because I was a junior high when she was gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated. So, but
model right.
Let's just say there was never acting was never meant to be her strong suit.
No.
But between her and Elle Macpherson, my lord. Anyway, so.
All right, so here's my last question about the movie, and then we're going to quickly get to House of the Dragon and close this out. The best part of the movie for you, and I will tell you mine. Frank Castle, the Punisher. I am so glad that he was in this movie. He was great, especially with him as the fake Spider-Man. That scene, I about fell out. I about had a Brendan moment where I about fell out of my reclining seat. They were just laughing at that.
I was so grateful that Frank, just after all the misery Frank's had to endure, that he got to have fun for 5 minutes.
Right.
And then the audience is allowed to have fun with it too. As Spider-Man is sitting there watching it all go down, just kind of giggling because he's like, I'm down here and nobody knows.
So you crying? Shut up.
Was that your favorite part of the movie? Having him in the movie?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if just that one scene, but just the dynamic of the big brother, little brother dynamic was definitely a highlight for me. That and the fight choreography. Although I I I think I would have I don't think I'm gonna mind Sadie Sink as Jean Grey as much as I don't like how they did that thing at the end where it was the whole city. And you you could have shown her to be just as terrifying without doing that, but I think Sadie Sink will be fine as Jean Grey going forward. I don't think there's going to be an issue there. But yeah, I really enjoyed Tom Holland. I really enjoyed Frank. Or John Bernthal as Frank as always. The fight choreography was fantastic. So there was a lot to like about the film, and overall the story is pretty good. Anytime you have we needed some government conspiracy because that's involved with the X-Men, and that's a big part of it. How they're constantly chasing down the X-Men and the Sentinel program and all that stuff. So, like I said, overall I gave it an 8.
Chad, what about you?
What about me?
Like your favorite part of the movie?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It's like just that chemistry. And I didn't realize how many times those two guys had worked together outside of the Marvel universe. Like somebody sent me the link to y'all ever watch the Hot Ones? They're drinking where they're eating the hot wings and they get progressively hotter and hotter. They did one together promoting the Odyssey and Spider-Man. It is one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen. And there is a tag at the end that you need to stay through the end for, and it's worth it. But like apparently they made a movie together where Bernthal played a mute. I don't know what the hell this movie was called. I meant to look it up and I never got around to. You know what I'm talking about, Marcus? Are you familiar with this?
I forget the title of it. I think I've seen it once. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Like this is like the 4th, 5th time they've made a movie together that they actually auditioned for Marvel at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's and they've been just like close-knit friends ever since then.
Well, their scenes in the Odyssey are some of the best scenes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But they have such this remarkable chemistry together on screen and off screen that it translated so incredibly well to this.
Yeah, it's very much big brother, little brother stuff. Although it's kind of hard to imagine Tom Holland being 30 years old now.
I know. Just that there's the scene where the Hulk is charging at them.
Well, that's because he looks like he's 12.
Yeah, and Peter's like looking at him, goes, man, this is above your pay grade. And then Frank looks over and Hulk is just coming in full speed. Oh shit! Just was one of my favorite moments of the whole movie.
Yeah. Jimmy, what was your favorite part about the movie?
Honestly, I said it earlier. It's the whole maturing Spider-Man story, like arc throughout the whole movie, that really made it for me. I mean, they could have cut this out. They could have cut this out. Blah 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 blah. But the fact is, like, that was just really, I thought, really excellent writing overall. Like that storyline was really good.
No, I
100% made it.
Yeah, absolutely agreed with your review about that. It's nice to see the development of that character. I mean, I love Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, all three of them had such great chemistry and so much fun together. I mean, even the villains had fun together. They were all great.
Well, and you also got to look at the class of actors they had as the villains too. You have Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, and Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
I mean, that
There's a great interview with
you
Alfred.
could write the phone book for them and they'll still make it interesting.
Little segue that he constantly thanks Spielberg for making his career. He was doing theater at the time, right before Raiders, before he got cast, and hadn't been married very long. He was making like 500 a month or something like that, scraping by. And then he gets Raiders for a few weeks, and is making like 1,000 a week.
Which,
And,
hey, back in 1980, whatever it was,
yeah. And then
not
he's
bad.
Yeah, we were able to move out of a shitty apartment, get a house, and then my career was able to take off because of that opening scene. And I love the outtakes when they're trying to film like the spiders and everything, and then just having a good time on set. All right. Yeah, Sadie Sink was really good as Jean Grey. But again, I still think it's a missed opportunity about a X-Men end of credit scene, or mid credits. So we'll see what happens with that. Apparently, Kit Connor has been cast as Cyclops.
Cyclops, yeah.
Yeah. So we should be getting more and more casting news about the new X-Men. But I got to tell you, I started going back and watching the X-Men movies. I don't even Last Stand. It's not a great movie, but it's still not as bad as some of the shit that we've seen. But always a lot of fun.
Days of Future Past was probably the best one they did.
Epic. Absolute epic.
So on a funny note, there is a guy who does action photography with action figures. And he has one where it's one of the Jabba's, like, I forget the name of the species, but Jabba's like pig guards. Gamorrean, thank you. He's running away from the Swedish chef who's flying through the air with a frying pan and a butcher knife. And the title is "Looks Like Pork's Back on the Menu, Boys."
Send me that, please.
Okay. Last but not least, at the time of this recording, yes, season 3 of House of the Dragon is done. I'm not going to spoil anything, but we just wanted to talk about the season as kind of a whole. Chad and I are the only ones that have kind of stuck with it, and this is my first impression about season 3. Wow, you could have combined season 2 and 3 into 10 really good episodes of House of the Dragon. You just took way too long to get to this point, of what is obviously going to be an epic final season, even though we already know what happens.
They gave it the Hobbit treatment. They turned 2 movies into 3.
And I made that joke with Julie. I'm like, God, you think Warner Brothers would have learned their lesson of stretching out a storyline?
Wait, Warner Brothers learn a lesson?
Yeah.
Never.
They just came out and said they have full confidence in James Gunn.
It's guided shit there.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how far that confidence stretches.
Well, if there are no more lifeboats, you might as well say, we like the captain. He's here with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. By the way, the best acting award for keeping a straight face when you said such a bold-faced lie goes to Warner Brothers executives.
David Zaslav. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, all right, well, if Clayface and Superman tank, you're in a world of trouble.
Well, okay. But House of the Dragon, I've enjoyed it. But like I said before the show started, I'm glad I binged watched season 3. I can't imagine trying to do this from week to week. A lot of good, build up, like a slow burn. But I wouldn't have wanted to watch this from week to week. I mean, am I wrong, Chad? It's better to binge watch season 3. Like,
I haven't had an issue with it. I mean, to me, every time they go back to Harrenhal, it dragged Damon's season 2 into the muck. It's done the same thing with Aemon. I was like, can we get the fuck away from Harrenhal, please?
Yeah, we
I'm
know.
sick of that fucking place.
You've established it's cursed.
Yeah.
We should
It's a
have.
black hole. It literally is a black hole. Like you got to turn your contrast all the fucking way up
When
to see a damn
Tyrion
thing.
is explaining how it's cursed to Arya in season 3 of Game of Thrones, that should have been it. That's your
Yeah.
your epilogue. Done. No more Harrenhal.
No more Harrenhal, please, for the love of fuck.
Yeah, I liked season 2, but again, it's like, wow. I don't need multiple episodes of fever dreams and he sees the problem.
No.
That's 20 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this as somebody who dipped out about 2 episodes into season 2, because I really, and I think I didn't realize how much I disliked exactly what you guys are talking about right now with Harrenhal, but the Harrenhal scenes really turned me off. I was like, this is just weird and boring. But to me, I think the show, and I understand, look, I understand the character dies, it dies in the books. It had to happen. But I think the show lost a lot of gravitas when Patty Considine left. I think he did a lot of heavy lifting in that first season for how good that first season was.
I agree that the first season is great for the world building and the jumping up timelines. You know, right at the moment where they have the family dinner, he's about to die. You think it's about peace, but that's when the shit in the Civil War is about to break out.
Yeah.
I don't think they have matched the epic scale of when what's her face shows up at when Aegon has been crowned, quickly he shows up on the dragon to give her, say and whether she's going to bend the knee or not, and she doesn't. There is a lot of great things about season 1. But again, my biggest argument is you've got 2 seasons of 8 episodes that your biggest problem is editing. You have gotten it down to 10 great episodes and left it at that. House of the Dragon should be 3 seasons. That's it. You are stretching it out, trying to do all this world building and this slow burn of all these characters. You can't do that with characters where we already know how it's going to end on a prequel. Okay.
Also, even though I know it's not going to end this way, the characters are so awful to each other. Like, there's no good guy in this world. And I'm just like, I know it won't happen, but I'm kind of rooting for the White Walkers to come south early.
No, that does not happen, but I like that storyline.
I'm just like I'm rooting for the undead army at this point.
You wouldn't be upset at all if the dragons just reach back and just rip their riders off their backs and just add a feet. I'm tired of your shit.
Yeah.
While we argued about the original Game of Thrones, and yes, the last 2 seasons, you crammed a lot in there. You rushed it to get to the end, and the end is what it is, and blah, blah, blah. Let's take at least, I'm not even going to include season 6, even though I like season 6, but let's take the first 5 seasons in the slow burn, the world building, the clash of kings.
Right.
You have a lot of characters. You're telling a lot of storylines. Nothing seemed dull in each episode. You had so much going. Even when Daenerys is wandering the desert in season 2 and, all that's going on. There's so much going on that they put a lot into that slow burn in the first 5 seasons that it never felt dull over each 10 episode season. Okay. Am I wrong to think that or to feel that about the first Game of Thrones?
No, there wasn't a lot of fat there. They trimmed a lot of the fat away.
Well, and not only that, the writing, it was so incredibly crisp.
Yeah, it crackled.
Even when there wasn't a fight scene, all the conversations were verbal jousting. It was there. Everything had some type of stake to it. Everything was, whether it was, combat on swords or combat in words, there was always a struggle going on, and it was always high tension. It was broken with just enough humor here and there. Mainly thanks to Tyrion, Bronn,
Lannister, and Bronn,
and Pod the Rod. But we're going to need details, boy. Anyway, so yeah, but yeah, it's just because of that. Even though it was a slow burn and there was a lot of world building, it didn't feel like it was a slow burn.
No, and I even think season 6, despite everything, as it was starting to slow down, and you were getting to what's going to happen. Yeah, it was always going to be kind of rushed soon as she crossed the narrow sea, and I still love that scene. You know, we were getting to that point. I don't feel that about House of the Dragon. I feel like you did enough of it in season one, and then you didn't really know how to. You tried to stretch too much out between these two seasons. We know there's going to be fights. We know that there's going to be dragon riders and sea battles and blah blah blah. But you've got so much going on over 16 episodes. It's like, seriously, combine everything and make it a little bit more crisp to get to the good parts. We know that Rhaenyra was going to, get to King's Landing and take over the throne until she eventually dies. Sorry, spoiler. If you know the story, we know she's going to die. Unfortunately, it's not by the White Walkers. I still want that story. Thanks, Brendan Smith. But again, Chad, I'm not wrong. It just feels too slow getting there, right?
Yeah, yeah. If we can get out of these ruts that we keep falling into, like you get splashes of greatness and then puddles and puddles, puddles and streams of just languishing,
It's
boring, conversation that doesn't really seem to go anywhere.
Yeah, and it's just tedious.
There's no stakes in a lot of that shit that they just
I don't
meander
mind.
off the path.
I don't mind the problems that they're dealing with when Rhaenyra first takes over. The gold is stolen, and there's dissension in King's Landing, and the overall plot of what's really happening. I don't mind any of those things. She's having to learn how to be a queen, and then
And she's failing at it.
right. She's like, well, you got here, but there's so many more problems. And then you're kind of relying on your former best friend for advice. And, I know where they're going. It's just like, can we fucking get there?
I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but whenever she storms into Allison's room, asking where the money is, asking where the city treasury is, and she comes in, she goes, "Where's my gold?" And Allison literally goes, and she looked at her like, "Bitch, you talking to me?" And it cracked my ass up. She's literally like, "Look, like, who the fuck you talking to?"
I almost literally just want them to have a cat fight to make things more interesting.
Exactly. Just let the claws come out, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I mean, if season 3 did one great thing, the sea battle at the beginning of the season was
wow.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, that's like epic scale of Damon defeating the Crab King. Like, that's my favorite part.
That's Shannon's favorite part. She talks about that all the time.
Just
That's literally her favorite part. Is Damon coming out with that guy's upper half, just dragging about him like, God dang, he's a gangster.
He just charges through, gets to the cave, kills the Crab King, brings out his head with arrows in him, and you're like, yeah.
Okay. All right, you're a badass. Okay, I'm convinced.
So I can't say this has been a great series. And again, I know it's hard when it's a prequel and you already know what's going to happen. So you have to rely on the world building and the slow burn and a great cast. And it just doesn't feel like it's there past season 1.
Yeah.
So I hope season 4 is epic. I hope you fill it with a lot of action, and you've already foreshadowed that the pregnancy is going to end up being the future king because they can't decide who's going to sit on the throne. I get all those things, but it's like I wish I cared more, and I don't.
Yeah.
Now I'll ask this question. We talk about crisp writing. Do you feel like they should actually do Robert's Rebellion as a prequel? And let me put it in context with this question. If they did it, it should be no longer than 2 seasons.
Honestly, you could probably do it in one if you did it, and I don't see the need for it. Like look, Star Wars has reached this point. At a certain point, you just got to let a property breathe for a little bit. I mean, we've already had 6 seasons of Game of Thrones, 3 seasons, or 4 coming of House of the Dragon, 1 of Dunk and Egg. Like,
Duncan Egg actually surprised me. That was really good.
That did nothing for me. I couldn't get more past the second episode.
I'm
like,
right
this
there
is
with
going
you, Chad.
nowhere.
Everybody like talked it up, so I tried to sit down and watch it, and I got 2 episodes in, and I didn't even make a conscious decision that I wasn't going to go back and watch it. I just haven't.
And did we have to make it a point to show somebody taking a shit in every episode? And that made, and like I was asking my cousin who did follow through and watch the whole thing. I'm like, does this get any better? He said, nope.
No, okay. I disagree with your cousin. It does get a lot better. It is very good. But that's another one too, that watching an episode from week to week and then literally starting out with I'm shitting in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, dude, I don't need to see you shitting.
Yeah, really,
Your
it's
winning
like-
conversation talking about shitting is perfectly fine. I get the point. But the last 2 episodes are really good. But this is a show that you can't do from week to week. You need to drop all the episodes and binge watch it. So that's how that was my personal opinion. Anybody else? Do you think we should do Robert for Billion or
no. I like Brendan said, give it a break. Give it a rest.
Maybe in 10 years.
Yeah, if the interest is still there.
I mean, that's not going to happen. Obviously, we all know what they're going to do. They're gonna milk that property for all it's worth. And you know what you know what I think's going on with George? I think the books have been done for a long time. And the thing is, I think the books were mostly done when the last few seasons of Game of Thrones came out. And I think the last few seasons of Game of Thrones are actually the ending. And he got pissy that everybody hated the ending. And he's decided he's just not going to publish them until after he dies.
Cruel joke. But anyway,
either that or he's not doing them at all. Either that or he just lit them on fire and said, "To hell with it."
He just gave up. Yep.
But
or a friend of his crashed his hard drive and he had 20 chapters into the book. And
I can't.
I'm sorry.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage. I'm sorry, bud. I'm sorry. I saw the window. I crawled through it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you didn't crawl through it. You hit it like the Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah.
No, I've always had this deal with Brendan. If he ever had to deal with some crazy girl that was after me and I disappeared or whatever, you get at least 25-year scotch. And I've done it's fair.
Yeah,
Adam, on the other hand, when you have that's like an everyday occurrence of, okay, we're at the pub again. I'm going to need my 25-year scotch. I mean, I know you haven't gotten paid, so I'll take 12 this time. But just remember.
I wonder if he even remembers. I mean, it's been almost 30 years.
Well, 25. But yes, I know how math blurs together once we all get older. Anyway, Jimmy, would you want a Robert's Rebellion Game of Thrones series, or you're just like, eh?
I'm kind of meh on the whole thing. And the only reason is like, look, I watched the original series up through, I think it was the end of season 5. Is that the one where the big temple blew up with Dragonfire? And regardless, like I watched, I just was so kind of meh after the first 5 seasons. The first one is like, anytime I tried to watch it afterwards, I was just really not impressed. And then it was, what is this, like 10 years later? I'm just like, I'm good. It's like I never, like Walking Dead after
season 6, episode 10.
There you go. Like after that, I was like, meh, I'm done. Like this is just not impressing me anymore. And I just never went back, and I'm still not going to go back. And I'm good. I just don't know.
I support your decision.
Okay,
I support your decision, Jimmy.
But I got to ask this question. If you had a choice, would you go back and finish Game of Thrones or watch the 3 Hobbit movies?
Game of Thrones. Like, I mean, I'm a Tolkien fan, but Peter Jackson absolutely just did Tolkien dirty. Like, bent Tolkien's story over the table for those 3 movies.
The Hobbit story, you're like, no, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I need to get you a copy. I need to get you a copy of the Tolkien edit then.
I would rather be a character in Game of Thrones than watch those 3 Hobbit movies again.
I will choose Tolkien over Martin any day of the week. George R.R. Martin, I don't think he should have brought back Gandalf. Is that right, Benjen Stark, Jon Snow, Caitlin Stark,
Yeah.
Targaryen, and every other guy that you resurrected 15 times?
Good
Shut
Lord.
the fuck up.
Ugh. Well, I mean, but we had to bring Benjamin Stark back just for that one great moment of rescuing Jon Snow.
Well, that, and I mean, like he how many times did Dondarrion come back? Like 10? I'm like at least it makes sense with Gandalf. He's not a person. He's a Maiar. He's a freaking angel. I mean,
Yeah. But Daenerys, when you're born of fire and you're the Dragon Queen and blah 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 blah. I'm like, look, if y'all just want more excuses of her being nude walking out of fire, fine, just admit that. I'm not saying I'm opposed to that. Anyway, but that
I will admit one of the other reasons why I got so fed up with that entire property is the amount of just red herrings that came out of it that never got addressed. The amount of subplots and plots and everything that went absolutely nowhere ever, and for like no reason whatsoever. It's like, why did we spend 30 minutes learning about this person if you're never going to bring them up again
right.
ever, or just kill them off instantly in the next episode?
We just
I can't.
yeah. I'm like, that's the problem.
the only thing worse to me is J.J. Abrams' mystery box writing, like in a TV show, where it's just a constant mystery after 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 mystery with no fucking payoff ever, and then they end the show lost.
Yeah.
What was the what was the island movie where there's like, are we dead? Are we not dead? Is
Lost.
Lost. I
Yeah.
hated Lost.
Yeah.
I hated
Me too.
every minute of that, and I watched all of it because my wife watched all of it, and I still to this day hate that show with a passion.
That's
It was the
the JJ
stupidest thing that ever was on TV.
That's the
I will
J.J.
say
Abrams mystery box.
Yeah.
Ugh.
If you're going to write 6 seasons of a show where you basically just sum it up that they were dead the whole time, okay, and you forced me to get to that point, but you're also going to masquerade it. Well, there's time travel and there's, different dimensions and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm sorry. Is this a superhero show? I'm confused. What the fuck is going on?
It's not the ending, it's the story that you saw along the way.
Yeah,
No,
at least Fringe made sense.
I liked Fringe. Well,
I'm
I
going,
really enjoy Fringe. However, the last season was a hot freaking mess.
yeah.
It was really, honestly, it
Well,
was
John Noble carried that show.
yeah.
I will say this about Lost before we close out the show, because now that she is my ex and who this is her favorite show, uh, who always got mad at me for pointing out that it was a science fiction show because she does not like sci-fi. She's like, it's not science fiction. I'm like, honey, I hate to break it to you. When you're dealing with time travel, different dimensions, and shit like that within your mystery box, you're a sci-fi show. That's how sci-fi works. There's so much more going on there. All the psychological stuff. I'm like, and for you and your therapist friends, that's awesome that you see that and all the metaphors and all that. But it's a sci-fi show where they kept building mystery after mystery because they couldn't figure out how to fucking end it. And then they ended it with, we're all dead. And I'm like, and then you just really want to piss them off. Well, maybe they're not really dead. Maybe they're in a different dimension because, again, it's a fucking sci-fi show. I always used to kid her. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take you to a con one time and we're going to meet Josh Holloway, who played your favorite character, and we're going to let him settle the debate.
Mhm.
And they're actually going to be at Fan Expo. And before we broke up, I was like, I was actually going to do that. Pay for a photo op with you with Josh Holloway. But now I don't have to do that. And I just
should have had him holding a sign that says "Lost is sci-fi."
Like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Not told her that he was going to do it either. Like paid him in advance to like pick it up while they're.
You know what? If I was really mean, I would go get my photo up, holding up that sign, and just send it to her.
That's her Christmas present.
Yeah.
Your Christmas card. Screw that.
For breaking my heart. All right. Well, anyway,
On that note,
yeah, we're going to close,
And on that bombshell,
and we will be back over the next few weeks as we close out the summer. Again, if you want a clear winner on the summer, when it comes to summer blockbusters, it is Spider-Man: No Way Home, not a DC movie, not a Marvel movie, and not Christopher fucking Nolan and making an Odyssey movie that, again, I don't really understand why we need it, but sure, why not? You win an Oscar, you can do whatever you want, I guess.
well, I'm just happy to be closing out the summer because soon Mother Nature will turn it back off broil and back onto bake.
amen, sir.
Welcome to life in Texas. And so,
Somebody put up, I'm moving to Texas. What's it like there? First reply, have you ever been cremated?
No, so
it's hot. It's damn
Yeah.
hot.
It's damn hot.
some
On my
buddies of
shorts.
mine are coming down in about a month, and they're like, well, what's the address? Blah, 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 where are we going?" I was like, just point your car south. When the sweat stops, like wetting your